Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. I am your host, Mitch Case. I'm also the co-founder of More Than a Meal, where I don't have the label out here right now, but More Than a Meal, we've been helping organizations strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. I initially started this show with the intent to really help individuals that are working day in and day out really hard to build more positive, inclusive cultures, brands, anything along those lines, and really highlight those individuals because they have really done a lot of very hard work to make sure that their place is a desired place to be. So I am really excited to bring you every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time, another amazing individual. And before we jump into that, I do want to say thank you to an amazing sponsor of ours that makes this show possible with True Captive. They believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you want to learn more about that or get connected with them, you can definitely go to truecaptive.com. You can reach out to myself. I'd be more than happy to get you set up with them, but we're very appreciative of the team over at True Captive. So go check them out. And with that, another guest on our show, just an amazing individual. I initially got to meet her at the Missouri SHRM conference down to the Lake of the Ozarks this past summer, and really just hit it off with some crazy, weird connections from dance with my wife and her kids and everything. So I am really excited to introduce you to Brandi Riggs. So Brandi, come on in and welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Yes, I'm Brandi Riggs. I'm the Vice President of Human Resources at McCownGordon Construction. McCownGordon is a commercial general contractor throughout the Midwest. And myself and my team, we lead anything and everything you can think of from an HR perspective at McCownGordon, highly focused on, total rewards and the engagement of our team. So all the things that go into making that happen, and then the talent management process.
Admittedly, when I started our business with my wife a few years ago, HR to me was like, everybody says it's the police or, what's in charge. And then the more and more I dove into that is exactly the reason why I started this show, saying like, these individuals are doing so much more behind the scenes than you ever realize. And I know our conversation off the air was just constantly filling and replacing certain situations too. So incredibly happy to have you on the show. If you are tuning in live right now, shoot us a message in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. If you have any questions for Brandi as we kind of go through this show, make sure to put that in the comments, and I'll try and get those knocked out if we don't run out of time today. But Brandi, what I always like to start this show off with is just an impact story, something that maybe you or McCownGordon has done, initiated, that's had a direct impact on a specific team member or community member that you might want to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So McCownGordon was founded in 1999 by Pat McCown and Brett Gordon. And really, it was founded on the spirit of giving back. And so, from all those years ago and all of the people that have joined the team since then and all of our growth, that really is part of the spirit here at McCownGordon. Yeah. And it's really reflected in our 3 core values. And our 3 core values they're not just words on walls, as we say. Every single person in our organization can not only tell you what they are, but also what they mean.
Yes.
And it makes an impact on people. It not just our people internally, and them feeling connected to the workplace and the people here, but our clients that we serve, our partners that we work with, and the communities that we serve. It really, is all throughout. So, integrity, we do what we say we're going to do. Performance, obviously we wouldn't get hired again and again.
Right.
We're performing and delivering a great product for our clients and communities. And relationships. And I think we're going to probably talk a lot about the relationship piece throughout this conversation today, because it truly is what makes everything work. So I would say our impact, is really that. It's having a spirit of giving back. And actually, when Pat and Brett were creating their retirement plan, they thought, okay, what's next for this company? And they decided to give the company back to the associates that were making the company what it was. And we're now 100% employee owned.
Okay.
And those shares are given to associates every year. They're not having to purchase
earned
them
or anything along those lines. Okay.
Yeah, and it
Interesting.
truly creates. I think it existed before we became an ESOP, but
Yeah.
it really is an ownership culture. We take ownership in everything that we're doing. When things are going great, we're all taking ownership in that, and when things need attention, we're taking ownership of that as well.
Yeah. So, well, a couple things. I'm going to try and get off of this. So I spent 10 years in the construction space, mechanical engineer, found myself on the sales side because I did not like being behind computers all day. And ironically, we're sitting behind a computer right now. But um, you mentioned just like in construction, that's been primarily the only industry I have been in, but it's a very easy way to your mistakes are not necessarily hidden in construction. So the fact that you have repeatable business goes to show not just the product or service that you provided, but the relationships that you have done. And one of the best things I ever heard from a friend was really along these lines of like, the best compliment I can get is what is being told about me behind my back, in
Yeah,
the sense of, even though maybe something has gone wrong on a project, the relationship that I have built, what's being told behind doors is that this individual, this company stands for following through with their word and will actually fix this versus change orders here, change orders there, and then it's all done. You're not getting that job back. I've seen so many relationships just be shattered from not doing the right thing. So the fact that McCown has gone from, I think I was told you like maybe there was 50 employees roughly when I remember seeing McCown for the first time. And now you have how many team members?
about 600.
Yeah. So that's in a 10-year span or less, maybe.
Yeah, I've been on the team about 8 years, and when I joined, there were less than 200 at that time. So
Okay.
in that amount
Okay.
of time, we've grown, yeah, about 400. Yeah.
Okay. That's that is fantastic. The other piece of that is the ESOP model. I've been hearing a lot more of organizations be, employee owned, and not to say that that's not unique, because I still think that is very unique
Mhm.
within businesses. But how are your team members? You say that that's an ownership feel. Like, what is the vibe when things aren't going right, and how are these team members like owning? What actions are they doing? How are you guys as a leadership team making sure they recognize like, this is what's going on. You are a part of this ownership group. Here's what we need to make happen. And, not to say like, what are you going to do about it? But at the same time, like, this is where do you see that we need to work and get better at? And how are we going to actually do that? Do you see just like pulling up the bootstraps and going type mentality there?
Yeah, yeah, and everybody at all levels takes ownership of it. So when something's going on wrong, so we're having a challenge on a project or something like that, raise your hand, like, hey, we need help here, and it escalates all the way up, and everyone's willing to have the conversations, put in the time to support each other to get through it, because we know it's on all of us.
Yeah. So
And
even crossing like projects, like, we're not on this project, but I need your help because this is not going the way. Can you step off of this for a second and help me fix this?
there is some of that, but
Okay.
primarily it would be, somebody would tell their manager who would tell their manager and get the right people involved in the situation, whether it's conversations that need to be had or, an actual change in how we're approaching the project or something like that. Everybody works together to get that solved.
Yeah, it
And
sounds
you
like
also, had mentioned just how do people know how things are going? We do have 3 to 4 times a year, we'll have all company meetings where we get together and our chief financial officer shares the financials, shares how we're
oh,
doing. Individual regions get together and talk about the projects. What
yeah.
how is this project going? How's that project going? Lessons learned on projects, and so we all try to learn and grow and from each other, and take ownerships in the wins and then the challenges that come our way.
There is nothing more humbling than exposing the financial statements to everybody
Yeah,
and just letting it go. it's
yeah.
it's frightening sometimes, but I love that is an initiative that you guys take.
It
So
takes everyone to turn it around. Just the people,
and
if you share
exactly.
it with a small amount of people, then they're not only the people that can make a difference.
Well, and what I kind of understood as you were kind of talking about how things get communicated and it's elevated is the sense that there is open communication. Just
Mhm.
because something went wrong, whether it was your fault or not, you're not sitting here being shamed and blamed. This is the issue. We need to fix it. I'm going to learn from that, but I need help. And the fact that you have open communication around that, as well as just like building collaborative approaches to that, I mean, that obviously goes to show the success that McCown has had over the years. So let's transition a little bit into specifically McCown and what truly makes it more than a business. You kind of alluded to maybe the three values or pillars within the organization, but what is it about McCownGordon that truly does make it more than a business?
Yeah, well, I kind of started to tell that story. Really, I have an example. So a couple of years ago, we were trying to define. We looked at our mission, looked at our values, looked at everything. We all agreed, yes, this is all the same. But you want to review it.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a purpose statement, and so we decided that we wanted to identify our purpose. And so you kind of go through this exercise. Well, what do we do? Why do we do it? Why? And you keep asking why until there's no other answer, right? And out of all of that questioning, the purpose really came that we exist to improve lives. And that's true. We're building in communities, we're building schools, we're building hospitals, we're building all these things that really have significant impact on the community.
Yeah.
And then internally, what drives me, and I know we'll get to this, is being a part of creating a place where people want to come every day. You spend a lot of time at work. How do we create a great place and a fun and collaborative environment and a place to be? And so I feel
not just ping pong tables and kegs, right?
That's right. Those are fun too, right? But yeah, really, understanding that we have the ability to improve the lives of everybody. And it really creates a ripple, because if you come to work and you have people that care about you, and you enjoy going there and, are energized by the problems you're solving and the things that are going on, then you take that energy back to your friends and your family, or, other things that are going on out there in your community. And it makes a ripple. So it truly does. We have the ability to improve lives in that way. And so that is what we said is our purpose. So I feel like that is very powerful. We're also, our culture is people focused. And that means a lot of things. We care about the well-being of each other. So we have initiatives and things about that. We care about encouraging growth and providing opportunities for our people. We care about our partners, and we try to be good partners with everyone that we're out there working with. We care about our clients. We want to deliver the best building experience that we possibly can. And we care about our communities. Yeah. And so, McCownGordon has certain, charities and things that are company sponsored and hosted and things like that. And that is wonderful. But all of our people are individuals and have individual things that they care about too.
Yes.
And so as a company, we really encourage that. We have many of our associates are out there volunteering in some sort of capacity, serving on board, serving each other.
Yes.
And so I think those are probably the core reasons why we're more than a business. We're people, and we're out there in the communities and trying to make a difference.
I can definitely appreciate, with my previous career being more on the manufacturing side for products and everything, sometimes I felt like I was the lowest on the totem pole, and it kind of worked our way down. And we were the ones that always had to fork over the money at the end when a project was going wrong. It always felt that way. And actually being on the outside of this, I can now see and recognize how much work was actually being done to protect the partners in that line of communication within these organizations, McCownGordon being one of those that I recognize. So your words match up with what I was seeing in the field as well. So very good from that perspective. Patrick mentioned that the ESOP model is one of the greatest ways to get employee buy-in. I've not been a part of an organization like that, but I think if somebody was like, hey, you got a little bit of piece of this, I'm going to take some ownership. So can definitely appreciate that. I had a question and I lost it, so maybe I'll come back to that. But in the meantime, as you guys review these core values and pillars, tell us a little bit about what that experience was, because I haven't heard too often of organizations that we have our pillars set and that's what it is. We print it up on the wall, and now you're saying, hey, it's been a little bit of time. Let's review this. And if we need to rip those down and put new ones up, let's go about doing that. Is that something that is common through that? Because I would say as engineers,
Yeah.
everything is black and white. You don't change anything. And Brandi, you're playing in the gray right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious about that process.
No, the core values themselves are not looked at all the time. Like I said, they're pretty core to who we are. It's just kind of like, hey, do we need to do anything here? And
Yeah.
no, but what is looked at every 2 to 3 years is just our strategic plan framework and making sure that we are providing direction to the entire organization about what it is that we're doing as an organization to move it forward. And then every associate across the company can then plug into that and have goals that help move the needle for the company in that way. So those are more things, that we're looking at very regularly. We don't change them annually, but every several years we'll take a look at those and say, okay, do we need to pivot? What do we need to do?
Awesome. I almost feel like I'm getting more value out of these conversations than anybody else, because I get to learn how I can help build my business in a successful way. And the fact that like I've had the same core value pillars, mission statement for now 3-4 years and haven't even like thought to even maybe potentially change that. It's hard for me as an engineer. It's like, I've got it, it's set in stone versus, well, let's reevaluate. We've learned a lot. We've grown a lot. Maybe they are the same, but the fact that McCownGordon is always willing to say, maybe we don't have this right just yet, and we're always going to continue to go back to it. Hopefully not a lot has changed from that perspective, but you never know. So I can definitely appreciate it. It's unique, and from the individuals that I've spoken with, that is reevaluated every so often. So I think that's really, really amazing. Let's switch gears now. Let's brag about Brandi. And I know that she doesn't want that to happen, but what continues to have you show up day in and day out? I kind of mentioned, like, we're not always our best selves. Maybe we only have 20% of ourselves to give on specific days, but like, what makes you continue to show up motivated to do the work that you're doing, to serve the people that you are blessed to be able to serve within the company?
Well, I think more than anything, I do, like you used a great word, the word blessed. Like I feel so blessed and lucky for my whole life and all the amazing people that I've had in it and all the opportunity that I've had. So I feel gratitude, which I know drives me in everything that I do. But I really like to serve. I grew up around a whole family that was constantly serving a bunch of people in a variety of different ways. And that's just ingrained in me. And I'm always like, the question I always want to ask everywhere, I can't even relax. I'm like, how can I help? What can I do? And so I feel like that, and I was reflecting on that. I really feel like that is the motivator. And I mentioned it earlier. It's really, I by myself and even our team can't create a place that is a great place for people to come every day, but we can definitely be a part of it. And that really drives me. And I'm very passionate about it. Sometimes we'll hire people that come from other companies. They're like, it's so great being here. And when I hear that, it makes my whole world. And they'll tell stories about, some experiences that they've had before when it wasn't like that. And it's almost heartbreaking to me that, they were in an environment where they didn't feel like somebody cared about them as a person. They didn't feel valued and respected and as part of the team. And that's what we want to do. That is what drives me. I want people to go home and talk to their families and say, I love coming to McCownGordon. They treat me well. Someone cares about me. It's not always easy. There's challenges, there's bumps in the road. There's all sorts of things that are going to happen. But I want associates to know that, hey, the company cares about me. I may not understand this, but I know that they have my best intentions in mind. And I joked that when I joined McCownGordon as an HR, HR people professional, that it's a dream. It's my dream job because the leaders really do genuinely care about people. And even behind closed doors, when we're talking about things, like, how is this going to impact our people? Like, what is this going to feel like to them? And so that's considered at every level all the time. And again, no company is perfect, but they're thinking about the people and they care about them deeply. And so I would say, I know I kind of got away from talking me, but that's what drives me.
What I've just, like, as you were kind of talking through a lot of that, it just completely full circled this. One of the first things you said was like that ripple effect. And the fact that you are finding joy and gratitude in the work that you do because somebody then is joyful, excited, appreciative of the work or the environment that you help create. And I know you're saying, like, I am not the one that creates it. Everybody is involved in this, but we can help influence that. But that just tells me they get to go home and they brag about what McCown has done for them. That has a ripple effect. And as a spouse of my wife, like, I know that if I'm in a good mood, it helps everybody be in a good mood. So
Yes.
hopefully that ripple effect can go to the next person, and maybe you show up to the next day and you can be that bright shining light for the other person next to you that's not having their best days. So that's what I just, like, as you were talking, I was smiling. I was like, wow, this is all just coming full circle and pulling it all together really, really well, Brandi. I really appreciate that. And I know just from the words that I hear behind the doors about McCownGordon and the work that you guys do, and raising my hand of having worked with McCown in the past, everything that you've just said has been what I've recognized in the field as well. So yeah, I love that is fully coming to fruition from that perspective. So we are kind of nearing the end of the show now. So if any of this resonated with somebody, or they're interested in seeing what it might look like to be a part of an organization, or what is an ESOP, and you can kind of explain some of that to them, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn, Brandi Riggs at McCownGordon. You can also, you're welcome to email me. I'm briggs@mccowngordon.com.
Awesome. All right. And if anybody doesn't get a hold of Brandi, I'll make sure if you reach out to me, I can try and get you connected as well. Every show, Brandi, my wife and I have chosen that we want to go out and help people. I'm actually wearing a t-shirt. I wore it last week for this episode, but there is a campaign going on, which is like kindness campaign, doing random acts of kindness. So I've been using wearing this shirt, Be Good to People, just to kind of help promote that idea of kindness. And this, honestly, it falls in really, really well with the opportunity for you to do a random act of kindness for somebody within McCownGordon. So at this point, we'd love to maybe hear of an individual that you think sending one of our meals for more than a meal to them, and maybe why they'd be deserving. I don't want to say deserve. That sounds weird when I say deserving, but why would they be a good reason to send them a meal?
Yeah, I do have someone in mind. One of our associates recently have had some medical challenges, and that has taken them away from the workplace. So of course that impacts income and all kinds of things, and that's no fun, especially when you're not feeling well.
Right.
And so I sincerely appreciate it. I would like to give my meal to that person.
Awesome. All right. Well, what I will do after the show, we'll get connected and send you an email, and we'll get all that info so we can get that to that individual. But yeah, grateful to Brandi just for coming on the show and giving us a little bit of a behind the scenes look at McCown and what truly does make it more than a business. I am incredibly grateful for that. And thank you so much for just coming on and sharing all of that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right. So every single Thursday, I am bringing a new guest, an individual, to the show to highlight them, help them share what it is that they are doing. So I will make this request right now. If you know of anybody that is an HR executive or a business owner that falls into this more than a business idea, I would love to hear from those individuals and see if they might be a good fit for the show. And come back next week on Thursday at 3 p.m. We've got another business owner that I'm excited to break it down with him. And until next time, we definitely appreciate you guys coming in, and check us out next time on More Than a Business Live.